Rust has changed a lot over the last 10 years. What started as a simple web browser game is now one of the most popular survival games on the market. During this period, many new items have been added to Rust, while others have been removed. Most of these changes made the game way better, but some of them were absolutely terrible. So, in this video, we'll look back at 21 things that are gone forever in Rust. But before that, write in the comments below what item or game feature you missed the most. And now, check out Rust Clash. Rust Clash is a platform in the Rust community, known for their case battles and a bunch of different game modes, where you can face off against other players in intense PvP openings. They also have a bunch of different game modes, like Tiles, Plinko, Mines, Crash and the Classic Upgrader, each with their own style and pacing. Whether you're uncovering tiles, watching the multiplier climb, or chasing a 10,000x Plinko ball, there's always action. And now, let's get back to the video. The first thing that I really miss the most is the ability to build inside a bus stop or close to the monuments. Not so long ago, the building zone around the monuments was much smaller. For example, you could build right in front of the gas station and have full control over it. Or you could build right inside the lighthouse and have a direct view of the recycler. But that's nothing near as impressive as the legendary bus stop base. You can find these bus stops even now, but you can't build inside them. But back then, this was a broken meta base that couldn't be raided, since the bus stop doesn't take any damage. And what made it even better is that there were only 2 bus stops on the map. So if you were lucky enough to claim one of them, you were guaranteed a successful wipe. Next, we have a lock and a key. Right now, you can craft as many locks as you want and open them without any keys. But before, you needed a separate key for each lock. Meaning that if you had 4 doors with locks inside your base, you'd need 4 keys to open them. And if you lose these keys, any player would gain access to your base. Plus, you could unlock someone else's base, as there were only 100 key variants in the game. You could just place a small box inside your base, put a lock on it and make 20 keys. If one of the keys opens the door, you're in luck. If not, you just keep trying until you find the right key. Another building mechanic that has been deleted from the game is the stairs bunker and the triangle roof bunker. You could say that we still have the stairs bunker now, but it was way cheaper and better before. As you can see, to open this bunker, all you needed to do was to build a triangle frame here, and the passage will open, which is much easier and cheaper than it is now. The triangle roof bunker was even easier. You just build a twig frame on the half wall and cover it with a triangle roof. That's all it takes to close this bunker. To open it, you just needed to break the frame, and the roof would disappear. To be honest, this was my favorite bunker, because you could fit it in any base. Maybe they will bring it back one day. The next 2 items were so broken back in the day that I'm confident they'll never be added to the game again. I'm talking about the survey charge grenade and the mining quarry. In case you didn't know, you used to be able to place a quarry pretty much anywhere on the map, and it would mine stone, sulfur, metal or high qual from the location it's placed. But before placing the quarry, you've got to plant a survey charge on the intended location to check the amount and types of resources available here. That's why I'm 100% sure that we'll never see this item again in the game, because it will break the balance between clans and solo players even more. As for the survey charge, they were used for raids in the same way as a bean can grenades. The only difference is that the bean can grenade can explode at random times or not explode at all, while the survey charge always explodes after about 4 seconds. I think this item could be added back into the game, but it should be more expensive than the bean can grenade to keep things balanced. Next, I'll show you a few items that might seem nostalgic to real OG Rust players, while new players won't even recognize them. First, there's a paper. Before, you couldn't just press the G key to open the map. First, you had to gather some wood, then craft paper from that wood, and then craft a paper map from the paper. Only then would you be able to open the map. And even if you did, you wouldn't see anything, because you need to explore the area to display it on the map. You could also draw on this map to highlight your base or a monument, which was really cool. By the way, if you wanted to craft a building plan or a node, You also had to make a paper first. This was the ultimate resource. Next, we have an old Hazmat Set. Yes, there wasn't a hazmat suit in the game before. It was a hazmat set that was put together from different pieces. To put this set together, you had to find a hazmat helmet, a hazmat jacket, hazmat gloves, hazmat pants, and hazmat boots. This set was incredibly valuable because it was impossible to craft it. But now, all that's left from the old set are the frog boots that only true old-school players have. Another very interesting item or resource is blood. Despite its in-game description saying it is used to make medkits, it was never used for that. However, if the developers add this mechanic, it will be insanely cool. Just imagine, to make a syringe or a medkit, you first need to get blood from an animal or other player, and then you can craft a kit on a second workbench. I think that's pretty cool. Or maybe you have better ideas for using blood. The next two items were added to the game a long time ago, but have never been used. And I think it's a shame, because they have a lot of potential. I'm talking about glue and duct tape. As far as I know, the original idea was to use these two items to repair weapons or clothes. This makes a lot of sense, since pretty much all the weapons in the game are made of tape, glue, stuff and sticks. But what do you think? Should the developers add this mechanic to the game or not? In my opinion, this is an excellent option to replace a repair bench. For example, if you don't have the resources to fully repair a weapon, you can use duct tape and glue to repair it by 10%. That would be a nice innovation. Next, I want to remind you about the old blueprints. The blueprint fragments we have now are completely different from the original blueprints. Back in the day, instead of workbenches, there was another way to research items. First, you had to find the blueprint fragment. You could find it in a barrel or a box. You had to either collect 20 fragments to create a random tier 1 or tier 2 blueprint, or combine 60 fragments to make a blueprint page. 5 blueprint pages could be combined to create a blueprint book, and 4 blueprint books could be combined to create a blueprint library. The only downside to this system is that you always got a random item or weapon from these fragments, and if you needed a specific item, you had to be very lucky. Next, we have the legendary rotten apple. Despite being rotten, rotten apples had no negative effects when eaten. You could find this apple in loot boxes around the map, or if an apple in your base had been sitting in a box for too long. Another legendary gaming mechanic that I really missed is the door stack and foundation stack. In the past, you could build a triangle foundation right inside the square foundation in your base. The number of things you could build using this method was just insane, because building a base back then didn't have the same limitations as building in Rust today. But even now, we still can use the same mechanic when building a boat. Also, I want to mention the Hapis Island map and Observer Island map, because in my opinion, these are the best maps in Rust. You can still find the Hapis Island map in the game today, but there are not so many servers that have it. And unfortunately, the Observer Island map has been removed from the game, but it may be added back in the future. And finally, I'd like to tell you about the changes that were made in recent updates to Rust. First, we have a chainsaw modification. In case you haven't noticed, the chainsaw now always starts on the first try. But that wasn't always the case. Before, you might have needed up to 4 tries to start it, and in my opinion, that was way cooler and more realistic. Also, for some reason, meat no longer burns in a campfire or barbecue, even if you leave it for an hour. Again, it's not realistic at all, so let's hope they will add this feature back. By the way, not so long ago, the barbecue could be used as a small box, since you could throw any loot into it. This made the typical loot room look like this, which increased the number of slots many times over. And finally, the last change is the removal of tugboat. I still don't understand why the developers did this, and I hope that tugboat will be brought back into the game at some point. I think I've covered almost all the removed items in Rust. Of course, I definitely forgot something, and there are probably things I didn't even know about. So if I didn't mention a specific item or game mechanic, please write about it in the comments below. Maybe I'll make a second part of this video. And if you want to know even more about Rust, then in this guide I'm gonna give you 25 things that every solo player needs to know in Rust to survive longer, win more fights, and outsmart other players.